What up? 大家好，我是唢呐。Real talk. This episode had me a little nervous. A lot of so-called feminists are waiting to see how we're gonna explain this MeToo movement. And I can almost see their Molotov cocktails in hand, ready to launch them at my shiny, bald black head. 但是卖缓了啦. This may surprise some of you, but to all our female viewers, we actually love women.
Shut up. Shut up!
And discussing and analyzing this sensitive topic does not mean that we hate them. So for all of you overzealous keyboard warriors already in the comments calling us chauvinist pigs, why don't you hold that thought until after you've watched our video and sit tight as we try our very best to lay it all out for you. And due to the nature of the content in this video, we have to bleep out a lot of stuff. Otherwise, YouTube will suppress it. So if you want to see this video in its entirety, uncensored, then you can gyro the Hoyer and watch it there. The Me Too movement is not much different from other social movements. With every good idea, there's always a few people who are too radical and end up fucking it up for everybody. In the book, Rabble, it reveals the idea of groupthink via psychology, and how when an individual decides to join a group, they will sacrifice their IQ in order to gain the group's approval. In the case, you can see this very clearly with her over-exaggerations, transparent lies accompanied with sketchy photos and absent injury reports. But those hardcore Me Too supporters didn't dare doubt their authenticity. Any supporters of Me Too who tried to criticize the logical flaws in the movement were attacked and destroyed by smaller renegade factions.
So, are you saying that the Me Too movement is illogical and they attack anyone who criticizes it?
不是啦，再听一次。I said small renegade radical factions. So this video will be divided into 3 parts. The rise of Me Too, the flaws of Me Too, and the cost of Me Too. Few people know this, but the Me Too movement was actually founded way back in 2016 by Tarana Burke. She created a support group on MySpace for victims, male and female, to share their stories of sexual assault and abuse. And when a young girl shared a brutal tale of how she was sexually assaulted, Tarana was left speechless and could only respond with 2 words: Me Too. But like most black people in America, the public doesn't really give a damn. So it wasn't until 2017 when a Hollywood actress co-opted the movement and other actresses would spread the Me Too hashtag online, causing the public to follow suit, sharing their horror stories of sexual abuse, harassment, and assault. Fun fact, the Him Too movement, where men were falsely accused of such acts, appeared 2 years earlier in 2015. So, back to Me Too. How did it all start? Well, Harvey Weinstein, one of Hollywood's most powerful movie producers, would become the main villain that sparked fire to the Me Too movement. After model actress Ambra Gutierrez accused him of sexual assault in 2015, mainstream media began to report that she was an opportunistic woman and actively began a public smear campaign against her. Even with audio recordings she gathered while secretly working with the NYPD, the name Ambra Gutierrez would soon fade from memory as she was so distraught from the media attacks that she dropped her accusation. This is what heard referenced in her post after losing her case. When a woman speaks up and speaks out, she will be publicly shamed and ridiculed. 2017, a pivotal moment for Me Too, would appear in the form of 2 powerful figureheads, Alyssa Milano and Asia Argento, who started the Me Too hashtag and transformed it into an overnight phenomenon. On October 10, 2017, world-renowned Italian actress Asia Argento became the second to come forward against Harvey Weinstein, accusing him of forced oral dictation. 5 days later, TV actress Alyssa Milano took to Twitter and asked anyone who was a victim of sexual abuse to share their story and put a Me Too hashtag in the title. The online Me Too movement officially had Tinder. Many other Hollywood actresses soon responded and reposted the Me Too hashtag to more than 20 million people within 24 hours. In the tweet, several female stars also talked about their unpleasant experiences with Harvey Weinstein. Later in October, Harvey Weinstein was fired from the studio. In 2020, he was convicted on 3 accounts of sexual assault with a victim count of over 40 women.
Fuck you.
For years, men in power have often used their positions to sexually harass and assault women. The CEO of Uber was accused of forcing his female employees to join him at a Korean Chongdian. U.S. Congressman John Conyers became the first politician to resign after being accused by the MeToo movement. He was forced to resign for sexual harassing employees and using taxpayer money to pay them off. December 2017, the official doctor of the U.S. Olympic women's gymnastics team was revealed to have assaulted more than 100 gymnastic team members, all barely 18 years old.
Fuck you!
And it was later revealed that the FBI helped cover it up, allowing him to continue to assault young girls until he was finally sentenced to 60 years in prison. After 30 years of harassing and assaulting women, porn legend Ron Jeremy was convicted of abusing 21 women. Scandal upon scandal was exposed by the MeToo movement. Just like that like button is exposed, and you should be smashing it if you're against men being assholes to women. In October 2018, the New York Times reported that more than 200 men in high positions of power have been accused in relation to MeToo. And with the MeToo movement, more than half of them were replaced by women. As a result, the laws began to change. Before 2017, Harvey Weinstein often used corporate NDAs to silence his victims. But now, 17 states in America have legislation restricting the use of NDAs in a corporate environment. There are more than 200 bills related to sexual harassment. And in February of this year, the U.S. Congress passed the MeToo Act, which ensures that anyone who is sexually harassed can take legal action. So women across the U.S. are protected in the workplace. Who would have thought an online social campaign could be so powerful as to save the lives of women and give them a platform to speak out against their male oppressive power? But this movement had one fatal flaw. When Alyssa Milano encouraged everyone to share their stories of assault and abuse via the hashtag, many people did so before going through the judicial process, before the facts were confirmed. And in this MeToo society, men were presumed guilty until proven innocent. When the court of public opinion surpasses judicial process, malicious actors lie in wait to misuse this power, claiming many more victims. On November 16, 2017, a photo of comedian turned U.S. Democratic Senator Al Franken was posted, revealing him making a lewd gesture towards a sleeping sports broadcaster and model, Leanne Tweeden. She accused Al of sexual conduct. Now, Franken asked for a press conference to explain his side of what happened, but the Republican Party demanded either he resign before 5 p.m. or face impeachment. Under the pressure of the public, the media, and both parties, Al Franken was forced to shut up and resign. Now, it was later revealed that the photo was taken during the USO comedy tour and was a direct reference to a skit both Al and Leanne acted in many times together where he did the exact same movement. And then, much later, a video surfaced of Leanne Tweeden humping a very married and very famous Robin Williams and smacking his ass.
Turn over the mic. You guys please give it up for Mr. Robin Williams.
In January 2018, famed comedian and actor Aziz Ansari was at the peak of his career and had just won multiple Emmy Awards. But it would all go to shit when an anonymous fan accused him of sexual assault by leaking her story to a reporter of a very popular magazine. Now, the reporter wrote the article in all its detail, but failed to verify any of the information.
What? I do not understand.
Now, it's kind of a long story, but allow me to summarize what happened, allegedly. Aziz met a fan at a club. They exchanged numbers, and then went on a date. They ended up back at his place, and they made out. There was some mutual oral dictation, but she didn't really enjoy it. But when it came time for the real business, the girl refused. So then they watched some TV, he tried again, she said no. They watched a little bit more TV, he tried again, she said no, and then she left. After the story was written, the internet devoured Aziz Ansari, forcing him to shut down his Emmy Award-winning show and canceling all of his public appearances for 3 years. His career was done. But in the end, no crime was committed, no charges were filed, and to the fan's own admission, it was all consensual. She just felt weird about it. March 2018. Gary Oldman, the villain of The Fifth Element and Commissioner Gordon in the Batman movies, had just won the Oscar for Best Actor when he was accused of domestic violence and assault by his ex-wife. And again, the internet launched a full-scale assault with articles attacking him, and the idea of toxic masculinity was born. The mainstream media went after Gary almost daily, son, until finally his own son had enough and came out publicly to state that his parents divorced way back in 2001 because his mother was a drug addict and an alcoholic. Not only that, but the UK court ruled his mother to be unfit for parenting and granted sole custody to Gary Oldman and found no signs of domestic abuse or assault. September 2018, Brett Kavanaugh was nominated by President Donald Trump as a Supreme Court justice, and within days, 4 women came forward and accused him of sexual assault and misconduct almost 36 years prior. The entire country was shocked, and it became a national controversy. With hundreds of hours of news coverage, they attacked Trump, Brett, and anyone who declared his innocence or even dared to ask for proof. After an investigation, the FBI found no evidence to corroborate the women's stories, and in fact, 2 of the women who accused him were investigated for making false statements. So, what do these incidents all have in common? They all feature claims on the internet, target a public figure with gory details, a MeToo hashtag, and a substantial lack of evidence. What this small group of people wants is not fair and just. What they do want is attention, publicity, and fame. And apparently, someone else saw this as an opportunity. Which brings us to Amber Heard's 2018 op-ed released in October, just 1 month after the Supreme Court controversy that shook the nation. Written with the sole purpose of building publicity for her Aquaman film, Amber accused Johnny Depp of domestic violence at the height of the MeToo movement, which later was decided by the court to be false and defamatory. Now, as we said earlier in the video, an individual will lower their IQ in order to gain approval when joining a group.
My dog stepped on a bee.
And this is what Amber did to gain MeToo's approval. She made so many ridiculous accusations that even the MeToo supporters saw through her lies.
Stop lying.
And in the end, Johnny Depp suffered for 6 irreparable years, as did many others whose lives were ruined. In France, 40% of all harassment cases filed in the workplace resulted in men being fired without investigation. A 2019 survey resulted in 60% of male managers being nervous when mentoring or even talking to female employees, while 27% refused to hold one-on-one meetings with women, and 21% considered not even hiring women for jobs that require business travel for fear of sexual harassment claims. As sexual harassment is usually subjected to a woman's point of view, many men struggle to figure out how to interact with women in the workplace. Now, during the MeToo movement, an overwhelming majority of women that received attention were either public figures or part of the upper echelon of society. But women who didn't even have access to social media or even mobile phones, such as prisoners, migrant workers, women of color, ordinary working class women, were all left out of the movement, or at most, barely even mentioned. MeToo was founded by Tarana Burke way before Twitter, Facebook, Instagram back in 2006, but it took 11 years and a few Hollywood starlets before people actually gave a damn. Hey, do you remember Asia Argento, the co-leader of the MeToo movement, who was one of Harvey Weinstein's first accusers? Check this. Less than a year after the MeToo movement exploded, it was revealed that Asia sexually assaulted a 17-year-old boy on his birthday.
What kind of shit is that?
And just like many female victims, the boy was also afraid to speak out because of her influence and her power. But most importantly, because he believed that as a male victim, no one would take him seriously. And just like Harvey Weinstein, Asia used an NDA and $380,000 to shut him up.
Fuck you.
Fuck you and the horse you rode in on.
Following Amber Heard's trial loss, women without power and resources are virtually unable to come forward with their claims. And to make things worse, the public has started to turn on the MeToo movement, presuming any accuser as a liar. But don't get it twisted. The nature of these problems is not male or even female. Many radical feminists often speak of the evil male patriarchy and its toxic masculinity. But the point is, power corrupts. No matter race, age, or gender, anyone who pursues it can easily fall prey to it. This extreme method of dividing men and women into 2 camps only makes the problem worse. Our channel has suddenly been labeled chauvinistic and problematic by SJWs. Now, we understand that rallying hatred and labeling is a very effective way to gather people and lower their IQ. 只要说自己是中立的，好像就比较厉害，但其实可以跟我们一样住新北靠北一点啊。Don't be mad, bro. Just have a civil discussion. That way, everyone can appreciate the subtle nuances between each other. Now, although we are very similar, men and women have a few subtle differences. Men are more interested in things, where women are more interested in people.
You better be careful.
Generally speaking. Check this, 92% of programmers on Stack Overflow are men. 83% of IG influencers are women. But when faced with power, man or woman, 100% can be corrupted. So the war is not between men and women, but between those who abuse power and those who have none. So now you know.
And knowing is half the battle. G.I. Joe!
So men and women should make love, not war. And LGBTQ, you guys can make love too. The entire Me Too movement ended in a bloody disaster, but it's just one of 3 great ideas that eventually went to shit. And in our next series, we'll take a look at how the second one failed so miserably that even black women came out to protest it. So until then, hold on to your butts, like, comment, subscribe, and catch me in Kaohsiung 6月25日 for the Aquaman party. And I'll see you on the flip side. Peace!